Yaron Ziv, welcome to the Qualitox podcast. You are the head of quality at Chemipal, and you are also a pharmacist. So you started as a pharmacist in pharmaceuticals, and then went to the quality arena, right?
Yes, you can say
So
so.
So, welcome to the show, and we want to talk today a bit about unconventional quality management because I think that many would say, as you said, that you have an unconventional approach to GMP and quality management as a whole, right?
Yes, as you said, I'm a pharmacist, and I started in this industry 9 years ago. And I think that during the time we discovered that things have been changed, especially when we are talking about how to implement quality in the organization and how to make people take care about the quality, not only by the QA department, which is a big challenge for every QA manager in any organization, taking the side of not the side of the bad cop or the control person or the person who say how not to do it. And usually the department which is being seen by the organization of the reason of why things are not happening the way the organization wanted to be. It came to me because I found myself as a QA manager as one person dealing with 300 employees and managers in the organization. And I decided that if I want the quality to succeed, I have to see the things from their point of view and find a way to implement quality in their daily profession and the thing that they are already do. And find a way to make quality easier and yet meet all requirements all the time, especially the strict requirements in the GMP and the GDP, which we cannot let them go or pass them because they are our right of existence. And in the end, we need to make sure that the product is safe and efficient and it's according to its license. So we need to find a way to make the managers talk quality and not do quality. It means that the managers need to understand why they are doing things, and they need to understand when they are planning how to take the requirements, which is not only the MOH requirements, but also the customers and even ISO and other standard that are being implemented in the organization, and be the ambassador of those subjects in their department. Because when they are doing quality, they're just doing what the SOP says, and by not understanding why they are doing it. And then if something happened, it's very hard to make them it's very hard to understand how to improve things and to treat kappas and root cause in a very efficient way, because the quality person, the QA person, doesn't know exactly, is not very professional in what the manager does. He's a very professional of how to document things. He's very professional to understand the requirements. But if you want to implement the requirements in the daily activity of the department, you need to have the manager by your side and not against you. And usually when I started in this industry, I remember as a young person that it felt very annoying. The SOPs are very long. They are having a lot of information, but nothing which is things that I need to take for my daily activity. And I decided that as a QA person, we need to change that. And we need to make the quality more simple, because in the end, if it's simple, it will work. And if it's not simple, it will stay on the paper. Because we cannot be in the department or escort every manager at any seconds and to watch if he does exactly what we want him to do. And another thing that we discovered, that the manager do the things because he have to. He doesn't believe in it. I remember an example which someone told me, that the SOP is to fill in something with 10 cc, but the manager told the worker, don't fill 10, fill 12, because this is how we know the thing works. So in this case, what do we expect the employee? How do we expect the employee to be the ambassador of quality if from the if from the beginning he learned that what is written in the SOP is not what's happening in reality.
Right.
So
So people know that the SOPs actually don't work, but they know that there is a better way to do it, but they are just too lazy to change it, or they don't want to get into the political fights to change something.
yeah, and they don't want to get, it's very annoying, and it's and if you don't believe in it, so you don't believe that it can be changed, and I think this is the biggest enemy of quality. Okay, we know that when we have an audit, we try to make everything fine and look fine, and to have a big show that everything works. But I don't believe that way. I believe that the organization needs to be ready for audit at any time. And if you say that the organization needs to be ready at any time, then the managers need to be ready. And if the manager is ready, then the manager needs to talk quality, because you cannot again, you cannot make sure that thing will happen if the manager doesn't believe in it. If the manager thinks that the SOP is very long and it makes him tired and delay him, then he won't work according to the SOP. When we will have the internal audit, he will make the show for you as well. But at the end, and this is what I'm looking for, that the quality will remain at the bottom, on the floor, on the manufacturing floor, then you need to have the manager beside you, and the manager must believe in the system, in the quality system. He must believe that the deviation and the investigation are here to really improve him and not find him by his mistake or make him the person to blame on the mistake. And again, it should be something that really support him. And he needs to believe that the QA person is here to hear what is wrong, what it's painful to him, and help him to improve it. And not from the quality aspect, because the QA want to pass the audit as easier as it can be, but the QA is working to make this manager activities easier as it can be to him, as long as you meet all the requirements.
Right. So make the work as easy as possible, not as hard as possible, only just to show that you have SOPs and there are, oh, look how big my SOP is to do this on that, right? Just to fill it with content, right?
Yes. We need as a QA managers to find the creativity solutions for the problems. I remember that one of the problems was filling in the training documentation and signing, and all the manager usually lost the pages, and when you came, why you don't have this page and that page, and leave me alone. I want to do the picking, do the distribution, do the manufacturing. What you're talking to me about the training? Of course I did the training. The worker know how to do it, but we know that it's not enough. And if we will have an audit, it's a big kappa that we can receive, and it can be a major kappa, and this will hurt the organization, and in the end will hurt the manager. So we need to stand over there, hear what he's saying, and try to find the creativity, and to find the solution which is right for him and not right for the system. Because in the end, if the solution is right for the system, it will happen only when the system will look at him. And this is something what we don't want. In my organization, we have more than 600 workers. If I will have to not sleep good at night and all the time think, did they feel everything okay? They did what they have to do? Does the manager pay attention to what he has to pay attention? Then I will get older much faster than I planned. And I don't want that. And the organization doesn't want that. And in this case, we won't improve. We won't. You can't improve in this situation because the QA manager is only there to guide and to explain what needs to be done. And in some cases, he can give the best solutions because he has the connection between the manager and the regulations and the requirements. Sometimes the manager, which is a very good manufacturing person or a logistic person, doesn't have a deep understanding of what the regulation really wants. And the QA manager can be there to interpret and explain and find together the solution which meets the manager, which is a client of the QA. Okay, the quality department is here to give services to these managers because in the end, we are all here because our company earn money and they are doing it in the right way. And we keep improving and the year after year, and then we get better not only by the QA but also by the income on the bottom.
So the quality assurance department should look at herself as service provider to other departments and make sure that they're helping and making everything easier instead of more difficult. Right. So how do you change it? How do you do it? So you come to a new company and you see that everybody does things as we just spoke. They have really bad SOPs. They follow them halfway. They have like black books which they use, to do things as they think is the best practice. Although it's not in the SOP, they teach other and train others to do it a bit differently than SOP. So how do you approach it?
All the things that you said are great examples of the tactics that or the results of this approach, and we want to avoid it. So I will take it one step back for the strategic way of looking on things.
Right.
We in Chemipal and my department, we are doing it by first saying that we are here for the managers. We are escorting the managers with any steps that they are doing. We have weekly meetings regarding things that happen in the department. We are not talking quality. We take the things the problems and the things that are painful to them, and then we are reflected in a way that the quality looks at it, and then we make and bring the solution together. Okay, the result of that, it will be that we will write the SOP again and we will write it better. It will be that we will take the undocumented information in the department and make it document. It will result in that we will create working tool for the employees and the managers that fits the needs of those workers and not the needs of the quality. And this way, we will make sure that the quality in the floor and the quality in my office is the same quality. And it sounds very nice. Sometimes it's very hard to gain. Okay, there are managers which are, let's say, are burned from qualities for many years. And when you come with this approach, they are a little bit suspicious. But after a while, when they start to see the results, and they have to feel the results. So they have to feel that the quality are really here for them and things are getting better and getting easier and getting their perspective. And they feel that the things that we are decided on have their opinion in it. And then the change can happen.
Right.
The unconventional quality starts to take place. And the things that we are all talking about of making the quality as organizational culture can take place. And the QA start to be more training, guiding on the subjects regarding the regulation and the connection to the manufacturing line, the distribution line, the supply chain, all those issues.
Right.
Because in the end, we want to be transparent. Not only, I'm talking only on the organization, we want to be transparent. The people need to know exactly what we want to gain and how we are going to do it. And we need to reflect them the real point of view and the real picture so they can improve. And we need to do it very gently. Okay, people are coming to work and they don't like to hear that what they are doing is wrong, especially if they are hearing there are no malfunction that we are seeing or deviation that we are seeing, and the product is being sold in the market and everything is fine. So we need to make it very gentle and not to try to win them all, to treat small subject every time that we deal with a problem. This is why when I'm doing, for example, an internal audit and I find 10 observations, I never write all the 10 in the report. Some of them I'm leaving as a recommendation, because we know that in the end, those managers and workers want to work. And
Right.
you need to show them that you are here to help them. So with the manager, we can prioritize the observation, decided which one to make an observation and which one to make as a recommendation or for knowledge for further managing. Of course, everything is documented. Nothing is left aside on black books or things like that. But again, it's more as a corporation and not coming as the QA who comes to inspect.
How do you convince people to do the changes? So you come to a new organization, or you are in your own organization and everybody has been doing the same thing 20 years, 30 years, and nobody wants it to change. It's more work. So how do you do it?
I can tell you that when I started to work in Chemipal, and it's the same as my previous places I worked in, I take the first month to work in all positions in the company. I say like Chemipal is a big pharmaceutical warehouse, so people saw me working 3 days at the receiving, 3 days at the picking, 3 days as this distribution, 4 days in inventory control, an extra 2 days in QC, relabeling, everything. So after 1 month, sometimes I feel the things that painful to the manager on myself. And
Right.
sometimes when I come to them at the end of the month, I'm asking them only, tell me what is painful to you. What do you find it very irritating, something that makes you very unsatisfied with your job? And we try to deal these problems. And from there, we go to the major things. I don't believe that you come to a person with a big deviation or a big internal audit and from there you start working. No, quality and implementing quality is all about respect and professional integrity. And you must believe that the person who stands in front of you is highly professional, and he must to believe that you are highly professional from the aspect of quality. And when you have this connection, you can start to implement the changes. Sometimes it is very hard. I won't tell you, there are managers that it takes several months to build this relationship with them. Sometimes it takes even more, but you gain a lot of power from the managers which come next to you very fast, and then the organization starts to feel the benefits of these relationships, and it's contagious. And when it starts and it succeeds, it is highly contagious, like all positive things in life. I'm not saying that it's a hike in a park. No, it's not. But in the end, after a few months, you start to really feel it. And you also feel that the meaning of quality in the organization go on the right road. And you feel that in any decision that the organization has, the volume that quality take in this decision is very high. It highly satisfied me and give a big meaning to my work here. Seeing the results of the problems and the results of the solutions and to where it takes the organization, it's really satisfying me.
Right.
And my team, I have to
And
say.
your team, because you help them cure problems that they had, right? Because you
Yeah,
help
of course.
them in the end. And it's really cool what you said that when you come to a new company, you actually go and work in every position. So you learn it from bottom up, and I don't think that many do it. Like maybe 1% do it. Um,
I, you have to understand that quality QA must understand the risks and the problems from an aspect of not reading about it. They have to feel it,
right.
because then we will meet it in the audit.
Right. And it reminds me because I've seen it so many times where when QA managers just ignore things that people in logistics tell them, or ignore things that employees in different areas in warehousing tell them because they think they are above them because they know better, but they don't listen, and they sometimes make decisions and changes that make sense maybe from quality perspective, but they have completely no sense from the logistics or from the because it doesn't fit completely with the procedures that people are doing right now. And then you're doing a change that you think is better, but you're destroying the whole process because you're not listening to the people who actually are doing the job. And you lose the respect and the
Yes,
collaboration.
And the worst thing that can happen, that people will tell you that okay, we will do it because they want to take the quality out of them and leave me alone. But then nothing will happen, and then you think that things happened according to what you decided or what we all decided, but nothing has happened, and this is the worst thing. If you have an argument, it's something that put the things on the table, and then you can reach the CEO with that, but we don't want to be there. Of course, there are arguments and things that we are not agree on, and sometimes the requirements are so strict that you're in a minority position, although you are the quality, and you have to take it all the way up and to stand on your opinion and not leave it and not let them go or ignore it. But I try to gain as much data as I need to convince my colleagues or to explain my point of view. The data can be numbers, the data can be going to the guidelines, to the regulations. Even sometimes if I need use external consultant with other experience that can tell us and provide the management, provide the board the information that need to be given. But yes, in the end, we must, as a QA, understand that we are here to serve, and we are here to protect. Serve and protect. It's quite funny. It's more military phrases, but even in Israel. But it's something like that. It's first we are serving the organization interest. We need to be the people that really knows how to combine everything. Not everything is regulation. There are also, you said, logistics, operational, we'll call it operational, finance, commercial, customer relations aspect that needs to be taken. And not all the time the quality wins, but in the end, at any time, we will meet the requirements. Sometimes we will meet it in a different way, more creativity way than we thought at the beginning. But in the end, this is the subject. This is the target, to meet all requirements, all time, and all places.
Right. So it's interesting because in general, GMP is really general, right? So it says, okay, do this, but not how. Do risk assessment, but not exactly how. So you have so much possibilities to adjust and do things differently. So there are probably many people maybe that study, or it started, like a chain. So you just do the best practice that maybe you learned in one company. You stick with it, so you don't try to innovate right? So you just stick to something that is common, and you're afraid to step out of line, right?
Yes. And today it's the 21st century. We have many technologies. We're talking about software, things that were, when I started 10 years ago, signing the document by hand, it's something that was very common. I can tell you as a QA person today that I'm not signing anything on paper. Everything in our company is managed in the computer. We have software for all the things. Some of them I was introduced to in conventions, in exhibitions, and as QA we must go out and talk with as many QA persons that we can talk to around the globe, locally, to see how they deal with the problems, because the problems are all the same. The challenges are quite the same. All pharmaceutical warehouses have the same problems. I believe that all manufacturing have the same problems or the same characteristic of the problem. And usually, as you said, you are becoming a prison of your own point of view, and meeting those QA persons all the time abroad, locally, helps you to break those walls and to start to look at the problem from different angle.
Right.
And it is essential. It's essential for the QA to improve himself and to not stay boxed in his mind. So as you said, the GMP is quite traditional. The GDP is quite traditional. There haven't been major changes in those documents in the past few years. So, but there is a big improvement and big innovations by the system that we can use, by the methods that we can use. 5 years ago, not all people had smartphones. Today, it's like a commodity. And we need to know how to use it. QA must find a way not to stay back, not to stand behind, because usually the organization is far away ahead, because the world asks him to be like that, and there is no reason that the QA will stand at the back when everyone is running front. Running ahead, sorry.
Exactly.
So
right. So I talked before to David Yaron. He's the head of global digitalization in Teva Pharmaceuticals, and he is more concentrated on the commercial side. And he says, of course, the commercial side is really progressive. Is very progressive, and they do everything to stay, ahead of everybody in the digitalization field. But when I hear the difference, for example, from about the amazing things that you have in commercialization with providing the drugs to the customers, and the ideas that people have how to approach easily pharmacists, for example, to give them information through AI and gathering of information. But then I come back to the manufacturing, and I see how everything is like 30 years behind. So again, from one side, where there is money, there is also more, support, right? So the salespeople, the commercialization, so on, they the ones who count the cash, but the ones who produce the products are the ones who are in the manufacturing. So it's something that sometimes it's a bit left back, because they're not the ones that count the cash, but they're the ones that creating the commodity.
Of course. But we as quality must come forward and be as all the other departments, and start to talk about ROI, and start to give cost labels on any things that we are doing, or how we influence the incoming. Sometimes it's hard. but in places where it's possible, it must have,
Exactly.
because we must talk the language that the board is talking. And the board, as you said, is talking money, because money makes the world go around. And
Right.
QA shouldn't be different. I agree that the QA shouldn't take into account budget challenges when we are talking about improvement, but it makes us be more accurate and more planned to gain more information and data, so we can show the benefit of the things that we want to implement.
Right, right. So you've
Then,
been to the webinar, right? So you've been to our last webinar about deviation issue management, right?
yeah,
So
I
that's
agree with
so
any
that's
word
why
Alex
right,
said of it.
right. So that's why
Yeah,
I completely agree with you, and that's what I talked there a lot. That the quality doesn't look at the big picture. They think they are looking at deviations or at some things that happen on a small scale, instead of thinking, okay, let's kill the monster and not deal with the fire, right? No, let's not
yeah.
put the
I
fire
have.
of the dragon. Let's
I can
kill
tell
the
you that
dragon.
I have a dashboard of deviation and investigation and root cause, and one of the bullets over there, and one of the dashboards, one of the clocks over there are showing the money that deviation cost us from the beginning of the year. And I can press on this clock and to see the deviation, and then the board can see, oh, this deviation cost us $10,000. Why? Let's talk
Right,
about it.
right. So
And
do you show why? Do you show, okay, we spent that much? So sometimes people neglect the manpower in the
mhm,
calculation. So they say, okay, we needed to fix the pump. Okay, it costs this and this. We needed to stop the production because we had to decontaminate the area. I don't know, right? But people don't
yes,
say, okay, how much time people spent on addressing this deviation that maybe occurs again and again and again, right? So do you take this
yes,
also into consideration, the how much hours people actually spend on writing it and doing this and this and this?
exactly. And then we can talk because we
Right,
speak in the same language.
exactly. And then you talk to the board, you talk to
Yeah.
management, you get more resources to learn
How
how to
many
do it.
time how many time did I hear QA managers telling me they don't understand me? No, you don't understand them. You don't talk the language they understand. And we need to put ourselves in the eyes of our clients. The board is our client. The board is looking at us to give her sometimes the way they should go. Of course, like other departments, but we need to find a way, and it comes to the first subject that we talk about, from collaboration, for being together.
Right, exactly. And another thing that was interesting. So we talked about it before. So you have a really interesting approach to audits, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
To hosting audits from government audits or whatever, from clients that you say basically, I'm not trying to hide anything. I put
nothing.
it directly in their face, right? I
Yes,
throw
it's as I
my
told
problems
you.
in their face directly.
As I told you, I all the time in every audit that we are hosting here in Chemipal, my last slide in the opening meeting is the slides of all the gaps that I am managing right now and how do I manage them, from the smallest things up to the major things. And I'm not afraid or ashamed telling them that I know we have here a major gap and this is how we're dealing it. Sometimes is a budget issue. And then there is a full transparency, because I believe that, again, that the people who come to audit us, they want to work with us. Okay, and I need to help them feel secure about the activities that we are doing for them. And I think transparency, it's the first thing to do, and it makes the whole conversation and the whole audit in a different mood And even the conversation in the end on the observations and on the kappa that they are demanding are much nicer, is more comfortable, and it takes the place where we together trying to find the solution and to understand the requirement. This is the way I treat audits for the last 4 years, not only here in Chemipal, and I really believe in it. I don't let the audit try to find. He's not coming here to try to find what is wrong. I can tell you what is wrong. And you can tell me if it's wrong enough that you want me to take care of it right now, or I can wait 6 months. I think it's better to act like that and not surprisingly something happened. Or then he demands something because he doesn't believe you.
Right.
Or he doesn't trust you.
Right.
I prefer to be on the trusted side. We are all working in organization. There is no organization without gaps or without things that it needs to improve. It's just naturally. So if it's naturally, let's work from this point and not trying to get to that point.
Right.
This is how I handle things. Some manufacturers and some distributors are hiding
big
felonies.
Stuff.
Okay, let's not be naive, but I try not to work with felonies. So if I'm not a con, there is no reason to hide.
To hide, exactly.
Again, we all are connected to the internet, and we read stories and we read the warning letters that the FDA are sending to different manufacturers. So we know that sometimes the observations are really critical.
Right.
We try not to be there, and we are not there. So this gives us the privilege to act transparently, as I said.
When auditors ask questions and then you're not sure, they're started to dig more and more and more. But then if they see, okay, you're transparent, so you have nothing to hide, they're more friendly with you.
And it gives us it gives me and the organization the opportunity to talk with them, because sometimes things doesn't happening the way they want because we have problem with that. Okay, when you are signing the quality agreement, okay, you think one thing, and 1 year afterwards you discover that there is a problem with this issue. And when you are doing the risk management, you find out that there is no risk, and maybe we can talk with the customers, which we are considered to be a partner of us, and find another way and maybe take it out and find a solution for this problem. Because again, as I said, we are not con. We are not doing things because we want to hide it. We are not doing things because maybe we can't meet it as the customer want, and we need to explain it and find another way to define it. But I think it makes the whole conversation a collaborate conversation as partners and not as auditor and auditee, and it's more convenient.
Right, I agree with you completely on this. So Yaron, it's really nice this talk, and I think that your approach is really cool, and it's really, it's more modern in the pharma. I think just think outside the box, right? Don't be like an arrow. Think how to improve. And just to summarize, what we talked about, QA is there as a service for the company, and they are not the police. They're the service for compliance and for the people. QA should work with the departments as equals, and they should, step in their shoes. This is a good idea for QA managers. Go and do a bit of the work that the others are doing. Learn from the basics. Then you feel their pain. You know what is there to fix. So regulations are there for us to stay compliant. And if regulations are bad, people don't follow them anyway. then you are for sure not compliant, because because then people do completely something else, and it's worse than having an SOP that tells you how to do things that may be a bit less strict like the other one you had, but at least people follow it, which is already really important, and people just ignore the SOPs, right? So this is one thing that we're talking about, and the audits be as transparent as possible, and the auditors are there to work with you. We have all the same, right? The same goal here: produce safe drugs and so on. So thank you very much. Really cool talking to you. I hope you can do it another time again.
Anytime you want, Jan, anytime you want.
Thank you for tuning in and watching or listening to this episode of the Qualitox podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider subscribing, sharing it with your colleagues. So stay compliant and see you in the next one.